Hello, my name is Alan Garfinkel. I'm here today to talk to you about the law firm of Garfinkel Schwartz. I own the law firm and I've been practicing law for over 25 years. And it's a very different area of law. It's a small, unique area of law where Garfinkel Schwartz focuses its exclusive practice on this federal law practice called the Defense Base Act. And so rather than talking to you about all the details of the Defense Base Act, I thought it might be helpful to tell you a little bit about our law firm and why we do what we do. How did Garfinkel Schwartz come to be? Well, it started with this man named Sidney Schwartz, who got his law license about 70 years ago and was my wife's grandfather. He passed some years ago, but before he passed, he wanted to make sure that his son took over from him. And so Sidney Schwartz, who originally came up with the idea, started practicing law about 70 years ago, right around the time the Defense Base Act was enacted by Congress in and around World War II to help non-military personnel, non-active military personnel get medical care, surgery, treatment, medication, and wages in the event that they got hurt serving and supporting our military everywhere in the world. And so Sidney Schwartz knew friends and relatives and families that needed this type of care, and he provided that. Well, he felt so strong about that he wanted to send his son to a military academy, so he sent John Schwartz, ultimately he became my law partner, to a military academy. It was Bowles High School back then, and John joined the ROTC in that former military academy high school, and ultimately enlisted to the U.S. Army, served in the Vietnam era as a captain and military police officer, served with honor and distinction, and shortly after, he was met with some of the same problems that his father Sidney had in World War II, that he had friends and families that were affected around the Vietnam War, and following up with the military benefits that they need and helping military veterans. And so John went to law school, was a member of his law review, and then really for the next 4 years devoted almost his entire practice to the Defense Base Act law. So I met John in the middle 80s, and he began telling me, espousing the benefits of helping these families and slowly introducing me to the Defense Base Act. Well, I started my own separate practice, and some years later, John and I hooked up together and formed a law practice, and we, together for a dozen years, we helped really thousands of families that were affected by this, getting all sorts of medical care, and that really became my mission with recovering dollars from insurance companies, one, but even more importantly, making sure families' loved ones got the medical care that they needed and were owed, but were denied by the insurance companies. So really, I traveled all over the world and in this country, helping get medical benefits and care for folks that had been injured in this fashion. Bennett's grandfather, it wasn't enough for him that I was doing some of this. He wanted to make sure that the family legacy of helping military veterans and folks that were injured, supporting U.S. military veterans, continued as part of the family tradition. So we started pretty much methodically working on my oldest son, Bennett, to go into law. And so, unlike my oldest son, he didn't have a passion at all for learning the law or doing this area of law or any area of law. What he wanted to do is he wanted to practice medicine. And it's kind of funny because my mother wanted me to be a doctor, and when I told her that I always wanted to be a lawyer, she cried. It was just the opposite for Bennett, because I didn't push him to become a lawyer, but his grandfather did. But Bennett really wasn't having anything of it, and he wanted to become a doctor. That's what his passion was, and that's what his concentration was. But he always had a thing for the military and helping veterans, and ultimately at family dinners and going over his grandfather's house, he saw these affected families that had supported the United States military for many years. Some of them were mechanics, some of them were nurses, from all walks in life, electricians, people that built the bases, people that built the roads, people that repaired helicopters and other things. They would come to the house and they would bring specialty foods that whether it be from the Philippines or the Middle East or what have you, people that were hurt, and showed their appreciations. Bennett, he put his scientific knowledge to work, and he actually won a United States Army Science Award. And then in college, his focus was on all about science and running scientific labs, but his focus was always on science and medical research. But his grandfather was kind of clever and slowly brought him into this world of this unique, very small, specific area of Defense Space Act. And so he started to teach him about the law and started to show him the families that were affected and how insurance companies cutting off of medical benefits could really devastate a family. How collection companies bothering families really could have a devastating effect on the whole psyche and the core of the family. And so Bennett started to read depositions and meeting clients, but still had a passion for medical. So Bennett continued his medical research and ultimately became an EMT and attended dozens and dozens of surgeries with physicians and to learn the process. He became an EMT. He then went ahead and volunteered in Honduras as a EMT / medic there, and then really became impassioned with providing medical care to individual people that needed it. Bennett became more and more interested, began working for the law firm, and unfortunately, Bennett's grandfather passed away in August of 2012, and he did not want his life's work of treating and helping families and folks that had supported the United States military. Many of them were former veterans that went back in to support the military as private contractors, whether it be security folks or former snipers. So many people that were former military that went back in as contractors working for the U.S. government or the Department of Defense, and their families needing help. So ultimately, Bennett promised his grandfather. I was there on his deathbed, and it was a somber moment where Bennett said, "Listen, I'll go to law school, and I'm going to help continue this practice area." So Bennett shortly thereafter applied to his grandfather's alma mater and was accepted and will be attending law school. It just so happens that law school has a unique specialization on providing veterans and their families free legal help. And so it was a perfect synergy between what Bennett is doing now and his practice that he's actively working on. So that's what Garfinkel Schwartz does. This is a family practice, and you'll notice the very first time that you call us. This office I've happened to be in for the last 24 years about. We're in one of the oldest buildings in Central Florida. It's a small suburb in Maitland, Florida, outside of downtown Orlando. We also have an office in Cocoa Beach, but really the lawyer and the firm will fly out to you anywhere and talk and see how we can help you and your family. But again, it's this area of law is not for everyone, and not everyone practices this area of law, and so if we could help you, that would be wonderful.